Hey there, Chadi, Bazzi here. Welcome to another episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, look at this, look at the topic I've come up for today. 2020 vision for 2020. So, like 2020 vision is like, you can, it's like perfect eyesight and you can see so clearly. There's no distractions, there's no distortions, there's no filters. It's 100% clear, 100% focused. So 2020 vision for 2020 is the topic of conversation today. And I believe that this is the most important thing that we could be working on and doing at this time of the year as we end 2019 and we go into 2020. Because the more clear you are on your vision, the more clear you are on what it is that you want out of life, what it is that you want out of business, and clear on what are the action steps that you need to make, then the more likely you are to take those action steps and the more likely you are to build, that undenying burning desire. As I have coached agents from all over the country over the course of the last 20 years, and after having been on about 30,000 one-on-one coaching calls, I think the biggest challenge that I find with people is that they battle the daily ups and downs of the emotion of like, I know I got to do something, I just can't get myself to do it. Or, they feel like, their inspiration just fizzles out. They don't feel as motivated as they do when they attend a seminar or as they do. So motivation pretty much just shows up, every other day, once or twice a week, etc. Now imagine what life and business could be like if you felt that burning desire every single day. If you had that drive that just rips you out of bed every single morning and just gets you to take action. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like kind of like that feeling of like, you're going on vacation and you're super excited and all of a sudden you have energy and you get more done in a very little time. Imagine if that was your experience every single day. See, what happens is, the night before Christmas or the day or two before you go on vacation, you have that crystal clarity vision of that positive, good experience that you're about to have. So all of a sudden, you're in a different state of mind. Your emotions are completely different. That's what we want. That's how I want you to feel. That's how I want you to be every single day. And it's not as difficult as you might think it is to get to that state. It's rather simple. It just requires that you think a little bit differently, and it requires that you do something just one time a little bit differently, and then taking that one-time exercise and spending 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes a day maximum doing what I'm about to teach you today. And sooner than later doesn't necessarily mean months from now. I'm talking about like, either hours or days from now, you can begin to activate that burning desire that's gonna give you the energy, the oomph to go out there and do what you got to do to get what you want to get. So let's go ahead and begin. Okay, so this is gonna be more of an instructional video versus just an informational podcast episode. So if you're driving, you might wanna, come back later on and write down these questions. And you definitely wanna give yourself the space and the time to answer these questions as if your life depended on it. I don't want it to be like where you just like think about it sporadically or momentarily. I want you to totally think about the answers as if your life does depend on it, because your life does depend on these answers. Your life, your experience, your finances, depend on how you feel each and every single day. And when you feel good, what happens? You perform good. And when you perform good, what happens? Your results are way better. Okay, so that's what we want. So here's the question. The question is a rather simple question to ask, but a rather very difficult question to answer. And the question is, if life was as good as it could possibly be in 2020. So the focus is just on the year 2020. If life was as good as it could possibly be in 2020, what would it look like? What would it look like? I mean, start thinking right now, even if you're driving and listening to this or while you're working out and you don't got pen and paper, start thinking, if life was as good as it could possibly be in 2020, what would it look like? I'm sure, things are coming to mind right now. I'm sure things are coming to mind, but these are the things that have been coming to mind for a very long time, yet you've done nothing about it. So what does that mean? That means we gotta go above and beyond what shows up. There's an exercise that we did with Brian Tracy maybe about 15 years ago, where he asked a question, and I don't remember exactly what the question is. And he basically said the majority of you guys in that room will probably come up with 5 to 7 answers rather quickly. These are the answers that I don't care about. What I'm looking for is the answer that comes past number 7. Answer 8, 9, 10. He goes, force yourself to think beyond your normal way of thinking, because your normal way of thinking got you to where you're at right now and not where you want to be. I think you get my point, but let's go ahead and expand on this a little bit further. What I want you to do is, in trying to come up with the answer for this question, I want you to think about the 4 F's. 4 F's. If life was as good as it could possibly be, what would it look like in the area of, let's write down 1 or that rather 5 F's, okay, in the area of finances. So what would it look like in the area of finances? This is where you want to write down anything and everything that revolves around finances and business. Maybe it'd be, I'd be taking 2 to 3 listings every single month or every single week. If you're already a top producer and you're looking to expand your business, I'd have, a full-time administrative assistant. I'd have a team, and I'd have a buyer's agent, or I'd be 100% debt-free, or I'd have, $100,000 or more in a savings account. Whatever is important to you is what you write down, not what looks good on paper, not what might make you appear as if you are a high status person, unless that's important to you. Write down what is important to you in the area of finances. Okay, so that's the first F. The second F is family. If life was as good as it could possibly be, what would my family life look like? And I know some of you guys are single, but you may have siblings, you may have parents, you may have cousins. Let's go above and beyond that. Maybe you have a significant other, maybe your relationships, etc. You define it however you want. But if life was as good as it could possibly be, what would your family life be like in 2020? Let's go to the third F, fitness. Okay, if life was as good as it could possibly be, in the area of fitness, meaning, physically, would you have more muscle? Would you have less weight that you're carrying around? Would you have more energy? Would you have a different kind of physique? Whatever is important to you, I want you to dig deep, and I want you to design your life. Look, the year is going to pass by, and if it's going to pass by, why not let it pass by and allow it to be, allow your experience to be the best that it could possibly be. So that was the third F. Let's go to the fourth F, and the fourth F is fun. Fun. We're talking about experiences. If 2020 was your ideal year, what kind of fun would you be having? Who'd you be having that fun with? Where would you travel to? Okay, think about it. We work so hard that we forget about taking time out to have a little bit of fun. And fun is very important, because that's your time to reactivate. That's your time to rejuvenate. Okay, so don't forget about having fun. And the fifth F is the figurehead. Figurehead might be a term that you haven't heard before. Figurehead meaning you being, a public figure, because that's what you are in the real estate industry. You are a public figure. So the question is, all the learnings, all the experiences, all the growth and improvements and experiences that you're having, how could you give back to your community? How could you give back to your loved ones? Okay, and how could you be that role model figure. We're talking, if I could say this in a different word, it'd be contribution. How would you contribute to the world? How would you contribute to your family? How would you contribute to your community if life was as good as it could possibly be in 2020? See what we're doing here? We're going very deep. We're going very deep, and we are designing our life. Some people say life by design. Yes, life by design, business by design, experience by design. Because if you're not going to design it, then guess what? You're falling into the trap of living a life of default. And if you're living a life of default right now, who's responsible for that? You. I get this, for some of you guys, is an easy exercise. For some of you guys, it's a difficult exercise. It doesn't matter if it's easy or difficult, it's required. The key word here is required. Those who engage in these kind of activities are the people that are living the kind of life that you see on Instagram, that you see on Facebook, that you see in social media, and say, one day I want to live that life. Well, that one day begins today. It doesn't happen by itself. So that's step number one. Step number two is what I want you to do is I want you to take the list, okay? Take that list of all the things that you said I want out of my life in 2020. And what I want you to do is I want you to grab another piece of paper and I want you to take yourself into the future. Take yourself into the future. Pretend it's already 2020. Pretend it's already December 31st, 2020, and you're writing me a letter, or you're writing a loved one a letter, or you're writing Santa Claus a letter. You can write that letter to anyone you want. And in that letter, what you're doing is you're writing what your life experience was like in 2020. An example would be, hey, it's December 31st, 2020. You know, dear mom or dear self, just wanted to write you a quick letter and tell you about all the amazing things that took place in my life this year. You know, I set a goal to earn that much money. And you know what? I didn't end up earning that dollar amount. I exceeded that dollar amount by that much money. I didn't plan to make more money. However, because I did, I took that extra $25,000 and I decided to give $5,000 to my mom, $5,000 to my dad, help out my brother with $5,000, you know, donate that much money, and you get my point. Okay, you get my point. What you're doing is you're writing out your vision. You're writing out your vision in crystal clarity as if it's already happened. So that's the second step, and this is the simple step. The third thing I want you to do once you do that is the most difficult one for most people, which I find it crazy that it's difficult because I think it's very easy. You take that letter and you read it twice a day. You read it twice a day. You read it once upon arising in the morning, incorporate it into your morning routine. And, you know, so what you're doing every single day is you're reminding yourself of who you are working towards becoming. But where the real magic is going to happen is you're going to be able to begin to create a little bit more certainty for yourself. Therefore, every single day, you're more, you know, certain, you're more confident that that is who you are. That is who you are becoming, which makes it okay for you to show up a little bit earlier, makes it okay for you to work that one extra hour, makes it okay for you to, you know, make that extra contact, makes it okay for you to get out of your comfort zone and do the things that you need to do. And then read it again before you go to bed every single night. And that's very important because what happens is when you read it before you go to bed, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about who you are becoming, and then you go to sleep for 3, 4, 5, 8 hours, I don't know, however much you sleep, and your mind marinates on that it heard and saw last before it went to sleep. So that's how you wake up, you know, with more energy every single day. That's how you have more focus every single day. That's how you have more energy every single day. And that's how you find yourself, in spite of you taking the actions you know you need to take without even having to think about it. So guys, I know I went a little bit detailed in this video, and it's you know, a lot of the videos, a lot of the information, a lot of the podcast episodes, we tell you what to do. We don't show you how to do it, but I wanted to just give back to you during this time of giving. Not that it's just a time of giving. Every day is a time of giving, because I want to give you that gift to create that 2020 vision for the year 2020. And I want to go even further, okay? You most likely have heard, I don't know, every single episode I've released. Maybe you watched hundreds of my videos. I don't know. But here's what I do know. I know that when you and I connect, I know that when you and I have a conversation, I know when you and I make a commitment to take on the world, to take on the marketplace, to take on the possibility and the opportunity of building a life by design, we always make it happen. So what I would like to do is I would like to invite you to reach out to me by simply going to TLAstrategycall.com. TLA, which stands for Top Listing Agent, TLAstrategycall.com, and book a time to speak to me. Let's get together. Let's get on the phone for about 45 minutes. Let's take a deep look at your business. Let's try to figure out what is working so we can do more of it. Let's try to figure out what is not working so we can fix it, and we can help you generate leads every single day, so we can help you set and go on more listing appointments, so we can help you become a top listing agent and live the life of your dreams. Thank you very much for being a loyal listener to the Top Listing Agent Show. I so much appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Let's make 2020 your best year ever. Take care.